I want to talk today about how wasting a capability is the same as wasting points in a more or less balanced game. Now, we all know that 40k is not perfectly balanced, but GW does try. Not 100% try. It tries about 90%. You got to sell the newest, hottest thing. But essentially, if one unit was far overpriced, it gets spammed and then it gets points increased or nerfs. So the game isn't perfectly balanced, but it's close enough for the analysis I want to do with you guys here. The point is that you're paying premium points for whatever the capability of your unit is. If you're fielding a Gladiator Lancer, don't, I hate them, then you're paying a lot of points for AP4. You better fire it at a target that requires that sort of AP. If you're firing it at demons, if you're playing against demons, that's a tough matchup for that unit. That is a wasted capability that you paid a lot of points for and you're not getting anything from it. A heavy intercessor, they're cheap wounds. If you aren't either, if your opponent isn't killing them with great effort, then you're not using that capability, unless you're sort of de-incentivizing them to even bother trying to take an objective. Then that's also the capability is also in use there. The point is, if you have a capability, you better be using it, or you're doing a bad job of optimizing what you're doing. So let's show how to apply this in a list building situation. So most of you probably remember fairly recently, the Satan was a menace. They increased its wounds, or they did something, or they reduced its points. I don't exactly know what they did. I don't remember what they did because Satan weren't everywhere, and then suddenly they were everywhere. Um, Toughness 11, 16 wounds, I think. 3 plus 4 plus plus saves and -1 damage, and all that together just made. Oh yeah, and 5 of feel no pain, and all that just made it just terrible to get through with most of the units that were then filling the game. The Satan was undercosted. So, they want to make sales and they don't want to make everybody's entire experience bad. So, a little undercosted. Let's say a little undercosted, maybe 50 points undercosted, no big deal. The point is that they are paying points, even at a discount for it being the newest thing, for the high toughness of 11, for the -1 damage modifier, for for that good save profile. And we want to bypass them if we want to be, if we want to mitigate those advantages the Satan has if we want to efficiently kill them. So how are we going to find units or capabilities that bypass a Satan's abilities? Suppose we want to kill them. We'll deal with killing them first, okay? How do you deal with a high toughness? Do you use high strength? But usually high strength weaponry wastes a lot of AP, so high strength may not be the solution. Maybe we want the +1 modifier from Oath, some reroll wounds if possible. That might be a better, efficient way to do it. Do we want large damage hits? If we do like 2 damage at a time, the -1 damage is going to be brutal to us. But if we hit it with like 10 damage at a time from a Gladiator Lancer, then the -1 damage, isn't going to make a big difference. But the problem is that then there's the command point reroll on saves, so they can potentially, with one command point, wipe out 10 damage. And then there's the 4 plus plus. You just can't get around that unless you can. Devastating wounds. So we want some sort of either high strength or reroll wounds sort of situation where we can get around the high strength without wasting AP. The Blade Guarder, the typical unit that you would never want to have fighting a Satan. You don't have to leave them at home, but don't bring them out to fight the Satan specifically. Put them on a different part of the board because they're strength 5. You pay points for that, but it's as useless as strength 1. You pay points for that AP2, it might as well be AP1. You pay points for that damage to it might as well be damage 1. So we need damage 1 so that you don't lose any damage potential with AP1. So that, AP0 versus AP1 gives the Satan an extra 50% survivability because it's 2 failure points versus 3 failure points. Or we want dev wounds. We want Oath or some other +1 to wound availability, like a Chaplain or something, and or a Thunderstrike. And we want wound rerolls whenever possible because even if your strength is very high, you're still going to fail a fair number of wounds because their toughness is 11. So the solution that I found, looking through the codex, I found a couple of good solutions. Damage 1, AP 1, occasional dev wounds, ability to reroll wounds, Stern Guard, and Assault Intercessors. That's what came up for me when I looked through the codex. So I did an analysis. I took Oath a Moment and I used 10 Stern Guard, and I found that a unit of 10 Stern Guard will do 6.4 damage to a Satan in cover in this current edition, where cover is -1 to hit. And 500 points or so of Stern Guard will kill a Satan. That's reasonably efficient. Then I looked at Assault Intercessors. 10 of them, just a regular unit of 10, does 6.6 damage to a Satan. Okay, that's not enough to kill one. But then I, ran the numbers on the points efficiency of that. You're spending 150 points to do that damage to a Satan. You're not going to do that much damage with pretty much anything else on average to a Satan. And it's about 360 points of Assault Intercessors to kill Satan. If you can dedicate Oath, and you can dedicate enough Assault Intercessors, in theory, into a Satan, you can kill it for less than the points of a Satan. That's efficiency. Now the Satan aren't intimidating because we're fielding the right capability against it. So you can do this sort of analysis against any new threat in the game. Figure out what its strengths are, and figure out what capability bypasses it. Happy Crumping Wargaming pointed out that a Satan can be overpowered by a good unit of Gretchen. The Gretchen go and sit on the objective near the Satan, and the Satan can't kill them fast enough to ever take the objective back. So you put down 150 points of Gretchen, and it just outclasses a 300 points of 10 in the only way that matters, holding an objective. The other things you can do, suppose somebody has a ginormous blob of damage coming your way, you screen it out, then they hit, when they hit something small, and then you can counterpunch. Or tying something up in melee. There's so many units that do their damage in shooting, and the effectiveness of this can be really destroyed by tying it up in melee, or even melee units. You tie it up with the wrong profile. You have a whole bunch of Blade Guard, Strength 5, and you tie it up with a Vindicator, Toughness 11. What are they going to do? And the point is that if you look through the codex, you will probably find a unit that can provide the capability you're looking for. We have better odds than any other army in the game because we've got so many units. Use those capabilities.